intelligence viewer. If you Google that, you won't find anything. And the reason is that is a term that Alan came up with. And but it's a good term for what this is talking about. So in 4.2, in reading mode, there were several actions that your users had access to. They could add a sort to a report or add a filter to a report. And then when 4.3 came out, initially they couldn't do that. And now with Service Pack 3, now those features, there's been some that were added in right away, and now additional features that have been added in Service Pack 3. So that's what we're going to talk about here. What are actions that your end users can do from reading mode? So the first one that I'm going to talk about is sorting. And I also want to emphasize how you do this because it isn't immediately intuitive. At least it wasn't for me. So here's your report. I have region, data, and revenue here. And I want to say sorted by revenue descending. So if I just click, I'm in reading mode. If I just click on that revenue column, nothing's happening really. What you have to do is right click on the block. So the interactive features are activated on a right click. That's the first thing to remember. So with the right click, now my table is selected and I can open up my properties panel, which is that little wrench up there. That opens up my, and from here, I can easily add a sort. Let's say I add a sort on region first, and then I want to add another sort on revenue, and then just toggle that little pyramid there to make it a descending sort. Now my data is grouped by my region and then descending within each region. So nice and easy. The next thing I'm going to mention is the ranking that they also added. So I have a report here, and I want to be able to, it's already has some breaks by state. And I really want to see what are the top 2 products that are selling in each of my states. So I want to add a ranking to the table and show me my top 2 based on revenue. So again, I'll right click and then click on the little trophy there for the ranking options in my properties panel and click add rank. And in this case, I want to see my top 2 based on revenue. And okay. And my report resorts filters down for my top 2 for each state. So not too complicated once they understand it's a right click and then open up the properties panel and they can do these actions. The next one is filters and freezing. Now, I had a customer ask me, you know, our clients are used to being able to open a report and use those little filters at the top in 4.2, and I don't see that in 4.3. Do I have to tell them that they can't do that? And of course, if the report is built nicely with input controls, and that is the method I would recommend, yes, with input controls, of course, that would be available to them. But if the report doesn't have input controls and you want to give them the option to add some filters, they have this option here on the Analyze toolbar that says Enable Navigation. Now, if you've been around Webby for a while, navigation anybody is using, however, it will give us our drill filters. So you can activate that, and then on this report here, I'm going to toggle on my filter bar and I can add some drill filters. So I added one here on my product group, and I can add another one on, say, my customer state, and another one on my customer city, and then do some filtering from here. I'll select Arizona, and it does automatically filter my customer city to show only Arizona cities. So that's a nice option. The thing I'm not super crazy about, so it's a single select here. And then the other thing that I wish they had incorporated is we now have a reset all on my screen here. I can pull this over. Can't see the left side of my screen here. Here. No, that made it worse. All right, just to, this is the reset all button. I don't know why it's not displaying on here, but if you click the reset all, it does not reset the drill filters. So you would have to come back in and individually reset each one of your filters. So return to all. So select all and then okay. So it's a few more clicks for them. All right. So that's something to be aware of. They can do their own filtering on the report in whatever column they want. Since it is drilling, be aware of, so hierarchies still matter then, right? So for example, one of my columns here is my region column, which is kind of being cut off here. But if I wanted to add a filter on my region, it's under my, what they call free ones here. So in my universe, customer region was added many years later after customer state and customer city. So it's not in the proper hierarchy in the universe. And so it's not, it wasn't obvious where to go to add your customer region. Okay. So things to be aware of. Comments. So they can access comments. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to reload here. All right, there's my reset. All right. I switched reports a minute ago to show something, and so my comments, I will come back to that in a moment. Let me go to my document statistics. This was an interesting thing. One of our customers asked, it would be really great if we could see who last touched the report, who changed the report, who was the last person. And now we have that information in our statistics, document statistics. So from our settings here, you have your general properties here, but then we also have statistics. And notice my colleague Renali was the last one to save this report. And she saved it just a few minutes ago. It tells when it was last modified. So now I know who messed up this report. All right, so that was not available to us before in 4.2. Who was the last modified? I could see who created it, but not who last modified. All right, and then prompts. For the prompts, now I want to show this report. And a little bit bigger. All right. You see this new little icon on the end with the curly brackets is what I call it. From there, now you can see what the answer to the last, whoever sees the report last, those were the values selected in that report. So now they can see their prompt values before they, if they want to see before making any change to the report, they can see the last selected values that were saved in that report. Okay, and then the last thing I want to show is presentation mode, which is nice, a nice new feature which they can use from reading mode. This is a different report, and I'm just selected. This report was from the starting presentation I did for SpeakVO last week, and I just selected some of the report tabs, and it's going to go into presentation mode, which means takes away all the headers. And let's try this. All right, let's open the report again. All right. So in this case, it would switch between report tabs every 5 seconds and do a refresh every 10 minutes if that's what I wanted. So I'll select OK. And switch to the cloud chart. My maps, average days to ship, bullet charts within a table, seat chart, spark lines. I'm not a huge.
Yeah, but she did it better.
So that's presentation mode. Of course, I mean, I have it cycling very fast through these, so it would be hard to gain insights that quickly. So you could change those timings, of course, to display the way you wanted it to in a meaningful way. I did have someone tell me recently that their executive wanted a report up on presentation mode in his office, just like I want to see it, and I want it to refresh every 15 minutes. So really cool. And that's it for Intelligence Viewer. So all these things from reading mode that they can do.
The Intelligence Viewer is
No, yeah.
used to be for two. I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. A little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
You know, if somebody comes up with they'll change it and make something simple again.
Yes.
But people who used this before would have known it as Intelligence Viewer.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In old 4.2.
Yeah.
Sure. Even less than that, you toggle the reading button and then you're in design mode. So just toggling the button up there.
Al, right?
Yeah.
Alan, you were saying you missed your boxes. Down on the right.
Yes.
Yes.
You understand what you're talking about. That's what you're talking about right there.
No, what I'm
Yeah.
talking about is when editing my charts and tables, to bring up the dialogue.
So it's different than this. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
So to the point that was asked earlier about Fiori and Launchpad here, it was rewritten in HTML5, all specifically for the UI to be easier for people to use reports and to develop reports. So it does take a bit to get used to when you're used to doing things the old way, but yes. Presentation mode again? Sure.
Well, you people came in the same goals.
Mm-hmm. So no toolbars at the top or anything, just zoomed in on the report. I have not, but I'll bring it up and let you know. I do have a presentation at IBIS on mobile, so.
And imagine on an iPad, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in whether the interactions still work or not, like sorting and then.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's HTML5. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one of the big changes. With all HTML5, so there's one, you know, output now. So the idea being that say, any other questions at all? Okay, thank you very much.